Welcome, guys, to another video here with Enopoly. Today, we're doing another client interview today with Paul in Pennsylvania. Paul, say hi to everyone.
Hey guys. Hey Vlad, how you doing, buddy?
Doing amazing. And from the start, I want to thank you for your time. I know you're launching a whole new business right now, so you don't have a lot of time on your hands. So I'm going to get right into this and just ask you a few questions. Therefore, the newest person looking at Enopoly kind of has an idea of what to expect. And
Sure.
before we even get into this, so Paul has been with me, I believe since February last year, February 2022.
That's correct. Yep.
And we've had some downtimes, actually. I'm actually very excited for this interview because this wasn't a perfect setup. Because a lot of our interviews,
Yeah.
our clients saying, "Well, it kind of sounds too good to be true." So I'm very excited about this one
Yeah.
because we've had some hiccups from a lot of it's from our side. And I kind of want to get your take on that, Paul. Like, kind of describe your journey from your
Yeah. Yeah. So, basically, coming into this, I think I even started before that, probably like 6 months before. It was in like 2021 is where I reached out, started finding out a little bit more. And I'll be honest with you, I own several other businesses. So looking at it, I was definitely skeptical. And working with you guys, talking to you made me feel better. But, I'm like, it sounds too good to be true. So coming in, I was a little bit skeptical and didn't just was a little more reserved. And I think that that's normal for most people.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I would change that. If I could do that again, I wouldn't have done that. And I'll get into that then too, about how I would change, some of the things that I did do. But yeah, so coming in, starting a business, all of that stuff is pretty easy. Getting the EIN number, starting an LLC, that's the easy stuff. Then you have going through and getting every single state, getting registered in those states and getting tax exemptions. And you guys were awesome, honestly, with setting us up, setting me up with that, and the tax exemption people that we work with are phenomenal. I talk to them still at least monthly. I have a great relationship with those guys. All of that stuff was really easy, but then I will say getting set up with Amazon and also with Walmart and with Facebook was not easy. Facebook was just going through some changes at the time. They were changing some of the security stuff. So, we started out, and then after like a week or two, I think we had to change some things. And that was hard. I didn't get approved right away for Amazon like I thought I was going to, and then I didn't get approved with and I made some mistakes on that end too. I ended up with 2 accounts, which caused an issue. I don't know if you knew about that or remember that, but
I'm not aware about that. No,
yeah. So
what happened because
yes,
Amazon doesn't
yeah,
approve. It's just like once you just submit your
yeah.
documents, you're good to go. So tell me
Yeah,
about that.
so I don't remember how it happened, but somehow I ended up with 2 accounts, and then so they shut down the one that I needed, and I had to go through like a 3-month process to get them to shut down the one that I didn't need and bring the one that I needed back up online. It was really, so that was difficult. And honestly, thinking about it, it could have been. I think I started going through that process on my own prior to hiring you guys, and then when I went and signed up, I should have just kept that same account, but I wasn't thinking and I forgot actually and just set up another one, and it just didn't work. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that caused an issue. You guys were great. You got me set up with Facebook, and we did Facebook for several months. We just sold on Facebook, and it was actually pretty decent. And by decent, I think it was like, we were selling maybe 2,000 or something a week, something like that. Or no, I'm sorry, a month. It wasn't.
Facebook
It
wasn't
wasn't
that good at
crazy.
all.
It wasn't awesome, but it was like 2,000 a month, but at least it was something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we got Amazon online, and that started going. But yeah, you guys had a hiccup there. That was where I had this one team on Facebook, and I think my Amazon had just started, and the team on Facebook came back and said I was having issues, and then all of a sudden, another team came on and said, "Hey, we've changed teams. You're getting a new team," and we had to redo everything. We had to redo kind of our website, redo all this other stuff, and get that online. But it was honestly, now knowing kind of what you guys were going through, it was pretty seamless. It was relatively seamless on my end, transitioning from one team to the other. So, kudos to you guys, but for doing that kind of midstream there. But so that's kind of where we started out, and it was rough. but I stuck with it. And honestly, having owned several other businesses, it wasn't that much skin off my back. You know what I mean? It wasn't that hard. It was like I just had to hang in there, respond to some emails, set some stuff up, take some time in the evenings to do some things. But in the grand scheme of it, it's not like running, a brick and mortar business,
Right.
and I knew that getting into it. So I came in with expectations that it wasn't going to be the same as owning a brick and mortar business, and the return on investment was going to take a little bit longer, and but that someday, would start producing. And I think, that's where we're at today. And it's only been really, my store on Amazon really hasn't been selling, and you'll pull the numbers up, but I think it's like since July of last year. So it took us like 6 months to even get running, 7 months to even get up and running. So, I think that's pretty impressive.
So just for the viewers watching,
Mhm.
back when Paul started, I had contracted employees. They weren't even like fully payroll employees, just contracted in a different part of the world, and the results just weren't there. And that kind of ended, which kind of I had to go through and rebuild the whole entire company, which I actually, just before we got into the interview, I talked to Paul about, and he had no clue. I had to like rebuild the whole company,
Yeah.
train everything, and go through lots of different aspects of the business. But of course, no matter what, we made it work, and everything's running very, very smooth
Mhm.
as of the past like year and a half.
Mhm.
Now, one takeaway that you guys should get from this is, don't do anything before you pay us, right? Because there's some stuff that we're gonna
Mhm.
walk you through every aspect of the business and how to get everything set up. So if you don't want to delay your
Mhm.
process by 3 or 6 months, just don't do
Mhm.
anything ahead of time until you pay us, because then we'll actually walk you through and hold your hand through everything, so you don't have to get
Mhm.
confused or delay any part of the process. And yes, before we basically gave away Facebook and Walmart for free, because we're just
Mhm.
testing those platforms to see how they would end up. We are still running Walmart stores WFS only, but it's kind of like we don't offer it as an
Mhm.
upfront package to people. We only offer it as now at this point, we only offer it as an upgrade to our
Mhm.
clients that are already profiting at least $5,000 a month on Amazon. And then from there, you have the option to add on Walmart to your service if you
Mhm.
have extra working capital to deploy into a whole nother business. So that's kind of like
Mhm.
to kind of explain Paul's experience. Now, obviously,
Mhm.
he still had a slow start in the beginning. As Paul said, he was very cautious with his purchasing. And I kind of like, let
Mhm.
me go ahead and pull up his store real quick so you guys have an idea of what we're talking about. So right now we're inside.
Mhm.
Today we are about $1,300 in sales. If we go to let's go month to date. Oh well, it's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah. And that's just for
month.
today.
Yeah, half the month in, so we're at only 13 days in. We're uh
Mhm.
we're at about $30,000. I think you're floating. Oh, you're at 47,000 for the last 30
Mhm.
days. Year to
Mhm.
date, we're at 193,000. And
Mhm.
Paul, do you remember when you actually like started spending real money on the store for products?
Yeah, like that was probably, yeah, maybe, yeah, look at June or July,
So starting,
but
yeah, so we're
yeah.
like we said earlier, it was a slower start, right? So it
Mhm.
looks like you really started deploying capital probably right around December last year, somewhere around there,
Yeah,
November,
that's true.
December.
Yep. Yeah, we started ramping up for the for Christmas and everything, like right before that. And Vlad, that's what I'll say, if I would do it differently, what I would have done is I would have gone and probably just dumped more money and gotten a loan, treated it like a real business, and just dumped more money into it up front to purchase, to purchase the all of my goods so that I could sell them. And I would have accelerated this, so much quicker. So yeah, so that's, I mean, I definitely would do that over again,
Yeah,
because
so
again, yeah, and honestly, it's funny because like a couple months ago, like you'll see in my trends, like a couple months ago, I came back to you guys and I said, hey, look, like I think we were selling like. And it was probably still pretty good. It was like 20,000 a month, and I'm like, how do I get above this? How do I get above above, 30,000 a month. And I think you responded and you were like, we've got to dump some equity into this. You got to put some money in here. And I'm like, let's do it. And I think I threw like another 20,000 in, at that point. And then all of a sudden that was a huge jump, dumping that money in, even just, even 20,000, which is no joke. I mean, 20,000 is a lot of money with the way that it's doing. If I could do it again, I probably would go get a loan and start out with like 100,000, or more, for that initial investment, because you're going to be able to pay it back. Because that return is amazing. I mean, so I don't know if I would have done that, I probably, would double my sales right now if I would have started that, or tripled my sales at this point in time.
Typically, just to give you an example, like the average client that starts with 100,000 in the beginning, typically we'll be able to flip it 4 to 5 times in the first year. Now, of course, depending on the time of the year, do you start all that kind of stuff with Amazon's inventory limits. But typically, average client that starts with 100 grand, we'll see anywhere from like 350 to 400,000 in sales in the first 12 months of selling. Of course, guys, don't quote me on that. Every business is custom. Every business has completely different products. I'm just looking right now. I'm just looking at your spreadsheet. I'm just trying to figure out what you made last month. So I'm gonna go to.
And the other thing is this: when we first started, I remember being a little bit resistant, saying, "Oh man, like I want to get this other product. Like, why don't we put this on there? Why don't we do that?" Like, I wanted to try and tailor it, right? But the thing is, people ask me now, and like I said, I just bought another company, and the bank looked at my financials for this one, for Alpha Logic, and they said, "Man, what are you selling?" And I showed them, and they're like, "Oh, faucet pieces," and I'm like, "But I sell like 20 of them a day." Like it's like, but it's amazing. So you guys, the team that you have in there, really picking the stuff. I mean, it's just, and we've had some that have bombed, but
of course.
but for the most part, they don't, and it's crazy because I remember looking at it and going, what are why are we selling this stuff? And then it sells and they're coming back in 2 weeks and they're like, hey, we need to buy double this. And I'm like, wow, like that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing, and it has been amazing. And also I would not have done I was trying to concentrate on trying to get 3 stores up and running. The Amazon thing has been great for me. I don't know how the Walmart thing would have been, but I'm really happy with the Amazon, and I would have just gone straight for that.
And that's where we're giving away Facebook for free, because we just wanted to run tests. And
it was helpful. And it was helpful. It was helpful at the beginning because it was like, well, until I got my other store up and running, at least I had something that I could say, oh man, like we're doing something. So the process was good. I would have changed it on my end a little bit, but yeah, you guys were phenomenal.
Just to give you some context as well, like based on the trends that we see, I'm like constantly pulling data from my clients and figuring out why are some clients doing better than other ones. And I notice a very specific pattern. When certain clients, they have opinions regarding this business. Oh, I don't think this profit margin's good. Again, 1, that's an estimate. 2, I don't like this product. I don't think this will work. Those clients have the worst results in the company. Clients that just say, I have the funds, let's spend, typically on average have much better results than anyone else. Right now, I'm just in your spreadsheet, I'm just pulling up what you did month of September.
I mean, that's true. I mean, like, seriously, and that's what I'm saying. If I could do it differently, I thought I was gonna, I need to have a hand in this and doing all that stuff. And honestly, now, and we're producing like crazy. You guys are doing a great job. I'm just there, to make sure that I'm reinvesting, and that we've got the funds to get the capital to get the products that we need. And I let them pick and choose, and I'm just like, do your thing. And since I let them take the reins, we've been just really destroying it. Right? Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
And so those of you that are watching the screen right now, I'm going through, I lost my tracking on pulling up the full entire month of September. But as you guys see, there's a bunch of negatives, right? Like there's products that don't work out. And I go over this with every client before anybody onboards. Like you're going to have negatives. You're going to have products that don't work out. You're going to have stuff that like brands could literally just pull their product off of Amazon there's a bunch of stuff that could go right and wrong, right? But overall, everything that we do, as long as you're spending money on inventory, so yeah, we still have some pending orders from last month. That's why we always wait about like half a month after the month ends to really send out invoices. Right now, you're like at this pace, you're averaging about two this month. Current month, you're gonna be even higher than you were last month. So you're about 2,400 in profit just for the month of September. All right, obviously, we had a very slow start, but now as everything's moving along, you're getting access to capital. We're sending more consistent invoices and larger amounts, and you have a better understanding of this business. Everything's gonna scale up, and also your store has now has like trust with Amazon. Also, you don't understand. So when you have a brand new store, especially like in Q4, it's harder to scale exponentially. It's always easy to scale, but exponentially in Q4, just simply because there's inventory limits on Amazon. If you're a newer store, you haven't used a bunch of their space, so they don't give you a lot of space in Amazon's warehouses to keep products for sales. But now, so for instance, because your stores are like a year in or a little bit over, now you have the ability to even scale exponentially. So if you go and get more capital next year, we not only can we double, we can triple or quadruple the sales, of course, depending on the capital that's funded into the store. So that's kind of like that. That's how it works with Amazon. You've been with us for a little bit over a year. We've had hiccups. Obviously, no matter what, we overcame basically everything. We're on the track of doing fairly well because you kind of gave your take on what you would do different. But can you give any kind of advice or a tip to the newest person coming into Enopoly?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'll be honest with you. There's two other companies that one of them I actually knew a guy that, did very similar to what Enopoly did, or the same thing even. And at the beginning, even knowing this guy, I went with you guys because I thought, I liked what I was seeing. I liked, how you guys did things. I would say the biggest thing is just trust the system, trust all the stuff that you guys put out there that you say, because at the end of the day, it really does work. And I understand it's you can be skeptical and you can have things like, how's this working, especially if you don't understand, which is a complicated system. E-commerce is not easy. That's why people do it on their own, but they're not always successful. I would say probably not successful, the majority of them. So trusting, Enopoly to do it, I mean, it was definitely the best decision that I made. And I've had people come to me and talk to me about the store, and I'm like, you don't want to go with anybody else because, you guys, you have the system down. You've got, everything, getting everything started, getting everything up and running. Even though I had some hiccups, those hiccups weren't honestly, because of anything that you guys did. It was because, there were just issues with the system or issues with something that I had previously done. But yeah, I would say just, and it's hard to have that blind faith, but that's what it takes. You just got to go, hey, here you go. Your job, my job is just to make sure that the funds are available, that I find a way, make sure that when my team says, hey, a product is ready to go, we need this, my job is to make it happen. And there have been times where they come to me and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm just going to throw this out there so nobody gets shocked, but they'll come and say, hey, we need $6,000 today. And I'm like, when I woke up this morning, I didn't think I was going to spend $6,000 on something, but you know what I mean? And there were times at the beginning when I was starting to scale where I'm like, man, I don't have that yet. I didn't have the money coming in yet. And I'd be like, well, I got to tap into something else, like my home equity line of credit or something like that. And I'm going to throw this because I can't say no. If I say no, I'm going to miss out on this opportunity. So when I really truly started scaling, Vlad, it was because I was like, from this point on, it's like there's not going to ever be a no. I think I said no 3 times in the, since 2022, where I'd say I absolutely can't do it. And it was because they were larger numbers. And I'd say, but the team would come back and say, well, can we do, like, why don't we get these products or get those products? And there was always a solution. But now my thing is like, just don't say no, make it happen. And then all of a sudden, and then you get results.
And Paul, I have
make it happen.
You brought this up earlier. Yep. I forgot to ask, what made you skeptical in the beginning? Because you run businesses, you're a business owner. What's the thing that made you skeptical?
Man, well, so I'm a nurse practitioner, so it's that type A personality, right? Like if I'm not running it, and I don't have my hands in it, I was like, it was hard for me to hand the reins over to somebody else and say, here, like, you take it. I needed to understand every facet of of how it worked. And I think I did. I mean, I really educated myself, prior to jumping in on e-commerce, obviously not to the extent that you have, but because I'm not doing it every day, even though I am doing it every day. I'm not doing it every day. You guys are. But yeah, I mean, I think that was, for me, that was the skepticism was, man, I got this guy, the guy that worked with you that brought me on board. I was like, and how do I know that I don't know him, what I mean? I don't know who he is. And I didn't know anybody else that did it. To be honest with you, like, I still really don't know anybody else that does it that I could have talked to and said, hey, how are things going? How does it work? I don't know any of that stuff. And that's hard to get into a business when you're like, you don't personally know somebody and trust somebody that's already doing it.
Because we do offer, like, for people that they're serious,
Mm-hmm.
and like the last thing before they send us money, whatever, typically make them do a deposit, and we'll let them talk to some of our clients. And the crazy thing is, like, our clients to this day, they have no idea how this works.
Yeah,
Still have no idea. Some don't even know what they're selling. And by the time, like, the new person, like, starts asking my clients all these questions, they're like, buddy, I don't even know how this works. Like, I just, supply capital.
Yeah, like, I'm just,
and I
see they're there. Yeah,
it's Amazon. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah.
So people are like, well, how does the client that owns the store not know how this part works? I had a So some of our stores experience, like, extremely fast scaling, because some people do $100,000 or $80,000 their first month into product, and then Amazon requests to do an additional interview with them to just verify, like, how are you scaling so fast? Are your products real? Like, what's going on? Most people don't experience growth that fast. And then we'll have to have one of the employees hop on, because the client doesn't know how to answer this question. But when the employees hops on and then just starts sharing the screen and showing, like, Amazon, like, yo, this is our distribution license, this is our agreements, this is all this and this and this. And the clients, I can see the clients are like, holy shit, like, they had no idea all this stuff is going on in the background to just, like,
exactly,
store work. It's fascinating, because, like, I could see, like, the clients, like, that's when the client really realizes, like, holy shit, what I paid for is actually worth it, because all this, like, this whole living and breathing working behind us.
Dude, and I've had people say to me, because they'll know that I have a store, and I'll show them, I'll be like, here, like, this is what we've done. I mean, it's so nice because you can hop on the app and Amazon. I look at it every single day, several times a day, and just to see how it's doing. But I'll show people that, and they're like, I'm going to do it. And I've talked to people that have tried to do it on their own, because they're like, well, I watched this thing, and why would I pay somebody? I'm going to do it on. And I'm like, dude, like, you're going to have to get an app, or a subscription to something, and figure out which products are selling. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. And I was like, it's not worth your time or effort to do that. Like, I literally don't give it a thought. Your team sends me, and I show my wife every morning, and we love it. They send me, like, a good morning, like a feel good message. It makes me, I wake up, I feel good every morning. I look at this thing, I see it every morning. I communicate with them every day, and it's funny because I'm running my business or working full time, and I'm still managing a e-commerce store, because in between, my breaks, or when I'm doing stuff, I'm returning, oh yeah, hey, like, build the Amex, do the, do whatever. And I don't have to think about it. You guys take the guesswork out of it. You take you take the work out of it. So it's worth doing it.
Yeah, anyone could go watch a YouTube video on how to build a house and build their own house. I mean, okay, go build your own house.
Exactly.
You could build anything. Like, what I do is rocket science. I mean, anyone, if you really put in years of work, build systems, know how to build a company, you could potentially do the same thing. But it's way easier if and the type of clients we're looking for is kind of like you. You own businesses, own investments. It's not worth your time to go watch 100 hours worth of videos on how to, like, build and then go implement an e-commerce store. We just automate it. Get your return on investment, enjoy it, go build everything else in your life, family, whatever. And that's exactly it. You can become a dentist and fix your own teeth. You just what it is, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's, and it's funny because I have one store now. The biggest thing is just trust the system, trust all the stuff that you guys put out there that you say, because at the end of the day, it really does work. And I understand it's you can be skeptical and you can have things like, how's this working, especially if you don't understand, which is a complicated system. E-commerce is not easy. That's why people do it on their own, but they're not always successful. I would say probably not successful, the majority of them. So trusting, Enopoly to do it, I mean, it was definitely the best decision that I made. I'm waiting to get through some of, the new company that I purchased. And then I want to start with another store. I mean, and I have 3 boys. I said to my wife, I'm like, I'd like to get each one of them as they start getting older, start getting them get them a store and get them, because there is some work up front, and you do learn some stuff about business, right? Like you do have to set some stuff up. You learn how to do the EIN, and if you don't know how to do that, and if you are doing it yourself, because the reality is, like, you don't have to be a business owner to do this. You don't have to be, an entrepreneur or something like that initially to do this. I think that you've had nurses doing it, you've had construction workers, like all that stuff, right? You don't have to. You guys put the foundation out there. You tell us, you tell your clients what they need and how to get it, make it real easy. The roadmap is there, but the end result, has been good. And it's like, I think when you look at the market and how things are going, Amazon's not going anywhere, and there's so many people that sell on there. But
Honestly, with
I mean,
every
I have Amazon every day, comes drop stuff on my
yeah,
house, So
with what I've noticed every time there's like, for instance, the war that's going on between Israel and the Hamas, that's
mhm,
spiking our sales.
mm,
I don't really know how to explain it. Anytime there's economic depression, anytime something
mhm,
even good happens, our sales start spiking. Anytime
yeah,
there's fear, anytime there's excitement, people for some reason just
mhm,
buy more. Not necessarily going
yeah,
out shopping, but they're just online
yeah,
and shopping more,
that's
and they're
right.
doing different
Yeah.
types of products depending on what's going on. And that's why I have
Mhm.
access to so many. And that's why, like, now to the point where we are, I have an additional $25 million worth of products access to
Wow.
be
Yeah.
putting on to more and more stores. So we are like
Yeah.
we are looking to onboard a lot more newer clients. And it's not necessarily about how many, it's more about how much money you have to put into this, because that's what was changing.
Yeah.
If one person comes in with 25
Yeah.
million, I probably wouldn't need a client for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works. But Paul, I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate your time hopping on here,
Thanks, Vlad.
this interview. I'm always available. So, but yeah, anything you need, the team is there for you. As you
Yeah.
know, keep
Yeah.
up the success.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Always good talking to you.
Guys, you know what to do. There's
Thanks.
going to be a link down below. Go ahead and click that. If you're interested in our services, submit an application. And then from there, you can book your call to talk to the team to see if this is a good fit for you and see how you can get started. Other than that, you guys have a great day.